You know what the best gift would be? If you disappeared from our family. He said it like a weather report. No heat, no stumble, just a forecast. My name is Martin Alvarez. I'm 58. I run a regional pipe and valve supply in Denver, Colorado, and my daughter Elena was supposed to get married the next day. We just wrapped the rehearsal dinner at the Meridian downtown. Laughter still echoed off the marble when Derek, her fiancé, stopped me by the elevators and delivered his truth like a bill slid across the table. Disappear, Martin. Elena and I will be better off without your involvement. I set my palm over the cool brass rail and studied his face. A handsome man, crisp tux, fitting like he leased it by the hour. The kind of smile that always looked like it was rehearsing its exit. Involvement? I asked. You act like you own us because you write checks. We don't need your charity. Charity. Cute word for the $92,000 I'd put on my back to give my only child a day as radiant as her mother would have wanted. Rosa's been gone 3 years. Cancer, quiet, and thieving. When Elena got engaged 14 months ago, I decided the celebration would carry Rosa's tenderness, even if she couldn't be there to fix stray hairs and straighten veils. Maybe you're right, I said. He blinked, surprised he didn't have to shove me into an argument. I pulled my phone from my pocket. His mouth twitched. What are you doing? Granting your wish. I dialed the planner first. Jennifer, it's Martin. Please cancel all services for tomorrow's event. Yes, all of them. Immediately. Her silence had a shape. Shock often does. Derek's fingers latched my forearm. Hold on. I shook him off and moved down the list. Caterer, florist, string quartet, transportation, the photo team, the bar upgrade he'd badgered me into because craft cocktails play better on Instagram. Refunds, forfeits, I didn't care. I wasn't punishing Elena. I was removing myself, exactly as requested. By the time the elevator opened, his certainty had drained to a chalky film. You can't actually. The honeymoon's paid through Sunday, I said, stepping inside. After that, you're on your own. The door sealed on his face. Back in my room, I laid out shirts like chess pieces and tried to quiet the part of me that wanted to run down the hall, scoop up my girl, and apologize for burning down the stage before she had a chance to take it. The other part, the one Rosa trusted when things got loud, stayed level. Derek had been broadcasting for months. I just turned the volume up to a frequency Elena could finally hear. I met Derek 2 years ago over brunch at a place with mason jars and waiters in denim aprons. He was polite, shook my hand with the theatrical humility of a man who preps for photographs. Marketing lead for a health tech startup back then. Talked about brand arcs and narrative lift like he'd invented vowels. Elena glowed beside him. That mattered more than my exterior reaction. Then the small tells. Ordering for her without asking. Palming his phone mid-story. Rolling his eyes when Elena talked about lighting candles in the chapel where Rosa and I once renewed our vows. When they got engaged, I offered a proper celebration church, reception at the Oak Ridge Conservatory, a band that could play boleros for Rosa's side and big band for mine. Elena cried into my shoulder. Derek shook my hand, eyes sliding off mine before the shake was done. Over the months, he learned a trick. Complain about my meddling to Elena, then send me links to pricier bands. For the ambiance, he'd say, as if ambiance were a muscular thing that could bench press better if you paid it more. Last week I overheard him on the patio, voice low and practiced. After Saturday, I won't have to pretend to like the old man, he told someone. Elena lets him play wedding planner to ease his widower thing. Whatever keeps him busy. I stood with the sliding door an inch open, counting the seconds it took my heart to calm. It didn't. That night after the rehearsal, my phone became a siren. Missed calls stacked like shingles. First Derek. Martin, let's be reasonable. Then Elena, small and confused. Dad? Derek says you canceled the wedding? That can't be right. Then Derek again, angry now. You're not going to ruin this day because of your control issues. Finally, Elena, crying. The sound you never get used to as a father. Please, Dad. I called her back near midnight. It's true, I told her. He asked me to disappear. I did. He didn't mean, Elena, he did. He's been saying it in smaller ways for months. Tonight he said it plain. I could hear him in the room with her, whispering lines. Dad, she said, if this is about the ceremony details, we can compromise. This isn't about napkins and playlists. It's about respect. A wedding stitches families together. Your fiancé told me to step out of the cloth. Silence stretched until it snapped. What happens now? Now, you decide whether to marry a man who can't afford the wedding he designed, or to wait for someone who values what you value. The church. Paid through next month. If you want a small ceremony with people who actually love you, I'll be there first in line. But I won't bankroll another minute of Derek treating us like an obstacle he had to budget around. She inhaled. I need to think. That's all I want. At dawn, I loaded my truck and headed west, toward a small A-frame I keep above Evergreen. Pines, thin air, a porch that forgives. On I-70, the city fell behind me, and with it, the urge to rush back and rescue the very man trying to evict me from my own family. By 8, the vendors were discovering what a void looks like. The planner left a voicemail that spiraled from professional to pleading. The florist texted a photo of her van's back doors closed on arrangements that would never meet an aisle. Elena called from the church at 10. Dad, Father Luis says the ceremony can't proceed without payments. The caterer says the deposit's forfeited, and the staff went home. Derek's making calls. He thinks he can pay people directly. With what? A tiny pause. He's trying to get a loan. There it was. The moment paper fantasies meet arithmetic. I didn't cancel your wedding to hurt you, I said. I canceled Derek's wedding to save you. What's the difference? Marriage is two families agreeing to love the same future. He told me your father doesn't belong in his. My phone flashed. Derek. I put Elena on hold and answered. Congratulations, he said. You made your point. Put it back. Can't return a gift you insisted on receiving. You're not the father of the bride anymore. You're a saboteur. I am the father of the bride, I said evenly. And I won't sponsor a man who wants me gone. He exhaled sharp. What do you want? Prove you can afford the life you've been performing. Wire the full amount to the vendor's $92,000 and change, and I'll call to reinstate. I don't have that kind of money. Then you don't have that kind of wedding. You're insane. I'm consistent. You wanted no interference. That includes my wallet. Elena will never forgive you. She'll eventually thank me for showing her under pressure who you are. I powered my phone down and let the mountains breathe for me. For the first time in months, I wasn't a walking checkbook. By late morning, the calls had multiplied. The planner, again. He tried 3 cards. All declined. Derek's mother. We drove up from Santa Fe. Is this true? My brother-in-law, Raphael. Kev. Derek says you snapped. What's the real story? I told him. He swore softly, the way men do when relief is rude to relief's older brother. Grief. Derek's father phoned from a blocked number. My son says you can fix this with a call. My call already did. He asked me to disappear. I'm honoring his request. He asked you too. What? Disappear, as a gift. A long, stunned breath. And you've been paying? Every cent. He knew that. Jesus. Indeed. At 12:30, Elena rang again, her voice older by a decade. Dad, can I ask something? Anything. Did you cancel because you wanted to control our marriage? No. I canceled because Derek said he wants me out of it. And because he's been lying to you about it for 12 hours. He says he never said. I recorded the conversation. I lied gently. I didn't have a clip. I had a memory and a lifetime of knowing exactly what I heard. But Derek's reflex to rewrite facts needed a leash. Meet me at Redbird Diner on Morrison Road. 30 minutes. Come alone. The wedding is supposed to be at 2. There is no wedding. There's a lesson. I want to teach you mine before the world teaches you his. She arrived in curlers and a robe, the future still damp around her eyes. I slid my phone across the table and opened a note. Line by line, every payment I'd made. The bachelor weekend Derek upgraded, and the way he mocked me for questioning the tab. The band upcharge. The content creator, he wanted to roam the reception for live clips. The bar. On the other side, a second list. Quiet and damning. Every time he'd referred to me as the wallet, the old man, PR for the widower thing, dates, context, the little paper cuts that had been bleeding us dry. This is what 92 grand of gratitude looks like, I said. He took the money. He rejected the man. She read until her hands shook. I didn't know. You couldn't. You were in love. You're supposed to be. What do you want me to do? Postpone or cancel? Wait for someone who respects the people who raised you. What if he apologizes? Apologies rent rooms. Respect buys houses. She started crying. Not the soft leak of a bride under stress, but the hard sob of someone watching the ground finally tell the truth about gravity. I didn't hug her. Not yet. Let the truth land. Then we stand. Mid-roll CTA. If real stories like this help you spot red flags and protect your peace, tap subscribe and hit the like. It tells us to keep going with more first-person episodes, just like this. End CTA. At 2, I drove past Sacred Heart. Guests drifted like confused birds, checking their phones, adjusting ties, shaking heads. The church doors were closed. On the steps, in a tux that suddenly looked like theater, Derek argued with air. His parents hovered at each elbow, faces set to damage control. The groomsmen had scattered. He saw my truck and sprinted, wedding shoes skidding against asphalt. He slapped my window, the performance mask finally off. You ruined my wedding. I rolled the glass halfway. Your wedding? Funny. I thought you didn't want my involvement. He leaned in. You don't get to decide whether I marry Elena. I held his stare. You're right, I don't. But I get to decide whether I pay for a ceremony where I'm unwelcome. He faltered. I decided mercy looked like clarity. Brandon called me, I said. Your best man. He wanted to know why the checks stopped. I told him. He told me what you told the guys at the bachelor party, that after Saturday, you wouldn't have to fake liking me anymore. That Elena lets me play planner because I'm a lonely widower. Derek's mouth opened, then closed, the fish finally noticing the glass. You didn't mean to get caught, I said. That's what you didn't mean. Guests had turned. A few phones pointed our way. His humiliation came on like a tide, slow, then all at once. Where's Elena? He asked, smaller now. Not here. And not yours. He blinked. What? She called off the engagement an hour ago. He stepped back like I'd swung. You're lying. You've done enough for the both of us. I put the truck in drive. His hand landed on the door handle, then dropped. Then he did too, in a way. Some men take longer to sit down. I drove to the mountains with the radio off. You don't sing after a storm. You listen for damage. 6 months later, a letter found me thick cream envelope, Elena's looped handwriting dancing across the front. She was living in Santa Fe now, managing an art gallery off Canyon Road, dating a quiet high school English teacher named Miguel, who'd known her back in college. She tucked a photo into the fold, the two of them laughing at something just out of frame. That's how you know it's real. The camera isn't the point. Dad, the letter said, I owe you an apology for not seeing what you saw, and a thank you for loving me enough to risk losing me to save me. She'd be home for Christmas. Miguel wanted to meet me. He said any man who asks a father to disappear doesn't deserve a daughter, she wrote. I think you'll like him. There was a clipping. 2 local paper. Derek pled out on a check fraud charge after he tried to float a deposit on a new apartment with a rubber check. The job had evaporated. His parents, after learning the full story, had put distance between their bank accounts and their son. People who'd believed his version of the wedding started quietly stepping back when the receipt surfaced. Funny how the truth doesn't shout. It simply stays. That same week, a young plumber named James called about buying my business. 3 kids, calloused hands, a way with people that made leaky ceilings feel like temporary weather instead of doom. We met for coffee. He talked about honoring what came before and building what comes next. I liked him within 2 minutes. Rosa would have liked him in 1. Maybe that was the gift Derek actually gave me. Clarity. The courage to guard the door of my family, and the wisdom to recognize the difference between generosity and enabling, between being in the way and being a father. When someone tells you the best gift is your absence, believe them. Then wrap it in boundaries and a bow called truth, and hand it over with both hands.